on the Texas A&M Sports Network. From Learfield, live from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue on Harvey Road in College Station. Welcome to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G. Brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Visit Rudy's.com to find real Texas barbecue near you. St. Joseph Health, your primary partner for primary care and the official healthcare provider of Texas A&M Athletics. And by The Pool Guy, a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Now, the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G.
Everybody, and welcome to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. I'm David Ellis. Glad you came out tonight here at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. If you're out and about driving around thinking, I don't know what we're going to get for dinner tonight. Well, I've got a great idea. Come over here to Rudy's Barbecue. You'll smell it, and then you get to come in and see it, and it is fantastic. And I wanted to tell you of something else that's going on. You can buy a large drink here, one of these pink cups, where proceeds go to help support research in the fight for breast cancer. But as a matter of fact, money
fight against breast cancer, not for breast cancer.
Excuse me. Yeah.
just saying. Little change in words there.
It's been that kind of day. And the funds go here to Scott and White Cancer Center here locally. So, but they will also give you, if you make an extra donation, like just of any amount, they will give you this coupon that allows you to get one free 32-ounce drink on your next visit. So it is a heck of a deal. Mm-hmm. So, go ahead and get the large drink this time around, and you make a donation, then you'll get a free large drink the next time you come in. So it's a heck of a deal. That just so
for a good cause.
Yes, sir, it is. So, all righty, it is coming down to the last week of the season.
Regular season in
the SEC. Game on Thursday night, game on Sunday evening. The Aggies, as the schedule works out, play the number 2 ranked team on Thursday night, Arkansas, up in Fayetteville, and then come back at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon and play number 3, number 4 ranked team, whichever poll you want to believe. Yeah, in the country, against Mississippi State here. 2 huge
Which
games.
are ranked, if you were to switch the order, would be number 1 and number 2 in the standings.
Exactly, in the SEC. So just, again, any way you slice it, 2 great opportunities for Texas A&M against 2 outstanding teams. The Aggies coming off a tie last Friday against LSU, 2-2 tie. That saw, for my money, at any rate, one of the best goals.
2 of the best goals, I would say,
well,
actually.
Yeah, you're actually right. In terms of Sidney Becerra and Mekhi McDonald, I mean, 2 great goals.
One of them, one of the best, team-oriented goals, because the first goal started with a ball that actually started with our goalkeeper. That she takes bowls out to the left side. We complete, I think, probably 5 passes really quickly. That rotates quickly through the team across the midfield, running at the back line, and then plays. I think it was Grace Ivy plays Mekhi McDonald, who's on the show tonight,
right
in on goal, and then she buries it into the far corner. Just a fantastic team goal all the way around. Great finish, and then as good a individual piece of skill by Sid Becerra to get the equalizer late in the game. Just I don't know if it was on the Sports Center top 10. It should have been.
It should have been. You're not going to get a finer goal.
No, I mean, it's
I don't care
class.
what level you're talking about. I mean, it literally was a world-class goal. And as I said right after it was scored during the course of the broadcast, I said you couldn't walk up there and place that ball in a better spot. I mean, it was just spectacular.
And the thing about it too is you literally could have shown that anywhere on this planet, and people would have said, "Wow,
yes,
holy
exactly,
moly, what a shot!" Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I did see somebody put it up on Twitter or X now or whatever it is, and I mean, I saw comments from people who. They weren't typing in English, okay?
Yeah.
But it was all, they were talking about, I mean, you could just tell that they were just amazed at the goal. But I did want to mention something else that of course, Texas A&M tied the game against TCU 2-2. Had a couple of controversial calls. One that awarded a penalty kick to LSU that allowed them to tie the game up, and then we gave up a kind of a freak goal shortly after that and went down 2-1, and then there was a penalty that was not called that we did not get the benefit of it. I'm not going to drag us into that, but I'm just going to say, in my mind, either they were both penalties or neither was a penalty. Whichever way you want to call it is fine with me, but that was my thought. But in any event, the thing so we were down 2-1, and we had two very close calls go against us.
That cost goals.
Yes, yeah, absolutely did. And I was very proud of this day, because there's many teams that would have just said, well, we're just not going to work out tonight. But we got off the mat and played well, and then Becerra in the 81st minute tied it up. And there's a lot of teams who wouldn't have been able to do that.
Well, and even before that, I mean, the fight of the team to come back. I mean,
yes.
it was one attack after the other, and really the amount of chances that were built up by the Aggies even prior to that, and and that was part of the thing too. Like, oh my gosh, is it really going to happen? Because the chances that were created and the misses was like, oh my, is it going to be one of those nights where that those two calls that went against, and then that miss and 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 that miss, don't stop me.
Right.
Was it gonna just be one of those things? And then finally, it took that type of brilliance to finally put that the nail in there to at least get the point out of it. So,
24 shots for Texas A&M, 9 of which were on frame, 6 shots for LSU. 3 of which were on frame. I mean, we were on the front foot pretty much all night long. Mm-hmm. And
a lot of things that went really well. It was a great crowd. Almost 3,000 at Ellis Field for the game. I think it was 2,800.
Right.
I think I saw an attendance figure here. It was super all the way around. It was really, with the exception of a couple of those that just you kind of shook your head and said, "Wow! I mean, why is that?" 2,859 was the attendance, which was super. Friday night, and again, Friday nights in Aggieland are terrific nights for soccer games, and
Absolutely.
it was great for the 12th man to show up and really be in full voice. It was had a great feel to the evening. It was nice weather, and both teams were trying to get out there and play, and both teams needed the win, so both teams were putting a lot into it, and it got kind of hairy there for a while.
Well, and the other thing, you talk about the attendance and how I was very proud of the attendance as well. And I'll be honest about it, I was a little bit concerned before the game about, okay, so how many people we're going to have here, because right behind us at Davis Diamond, you had Texas A&M and Texas playing in a fall softball game. Mm-hmm. And then right across the street, starting a little bit later on, you had volleyball playing Florida. And we still had a good crowd,
right?
And then I was tickled to death about that. And again, as you said, a very boisterous crowd, and that's always a lot of fun. So, all right, 2-2 tie against LSU. Now, the Aggies, as we talked about, travel to Fayetteville to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. That game will start at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday night. You'll be able to watch it on the SEC Plus network. You'll be able to listen on right here on this station, 97.3 FM, or on your 12th Man mobile app or Radio Aggieland. And I'll have the play-by-play. Thomas Dick will do the color on Thursday night, and then we'll come back on Sunday against Mississippi State at 5 o'clock at Ellis Field. And that will be on the SEC network, the linear network. And
it's TV for you and me.
Yeah, regular old TV.
Real TV, right?
Yeah, right. And then Jeff Given and I will be doing the radio on that game, and it'll also be right here on 97.3 FM, 12th Man mobile app, and Radio Aggieland. And so, again, we've talked about these couple of games.
And that's senior night.
I should mention
night.
that. Sunday is senior night. We've got 7 seniors.
7 seniors, yeah.
This year, and 2 of them are here tonight, as a matter of fact.
A chance to talk with Micaiah and also with Jasmine.
Absolutely. So they are here tonight, 2 of the 7 that will be going through the senior day ceremonies on Sunday. You and I were talking about this a little bit before the show started, and I was kind of here the opportunities that Texas A&M has with playing 2 very, very good opponents, 2 very, very big games. And I didn't play soccer. I was telling you, I played baseball, but I loved to play in games like this. This is, to me, playing in games like this was why you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to play in games that are huge, that mean something. And Texas A&M, scheduling-wise, is very fortunate, and in my view, in the sense that we could be playing a couple of teams at the bottom of the table that if you beat them, it doesn't really help you in the RPI.
Right.
That is not the case with the 2 teams that we are facing.
Right.
It is huge. And,
right.
And so scheduling really, you look at it and you go, yeah, well, boy, those are 2 really hard teams. Yes, those are 2 huge opportunities is what they are.
Yeah, well, the thing that's unique about this that's different than usual, I mean, because there's been so many years that we've been, at the top of the table, and all we're doing is we are basically just kind of finishing up the season and trying to win our ring and trying to win another championship. Well, we're not in that. That's not the case this year. Actually, we're playing the 2 teams that are vying for the championship. Both Arkansas and Mississippi State are. Mississippi State is undefeated. Arkansas has 1 loss to Mississippi State.
Right.
So both of those teams are trying to finish off the season. They're both, with playing us, they're both, trying to get past this last hurdle and a half to finish off the season. For us, we are current, as this time last week, if the season was to end, we would be in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Well, with that tie, we now are outside. We're probably on the bubble on the outside.
Right.
So now we need results.
Right.
And so this is what you're talking about. If we were playing poor teams, we would be in trouble. Now, the fact that Arkansas is the number 2 team in the RPI, and I think Mississippi State is number 5 team in the RPI, these are about as big a bounce as you can possibly get from getting results. So for us, these are great opportunities. So you beat these teams, and you can jump maybe 30 points in the RPI, which is about what we could use right now.
Right.
So that's the good news. Bad news is these are really good teams. They're not easy to beat.
Right.
And you're going to play Arkansas in Arkansas. So so it's everything to play for.
Sure.
We've got to we've got to finish above 500 to be in the NCAA tournament. We are above 500 right now. But we've given away too many gifts this year. You can look at some of the games. The game on Friday was one of those games that we ended up tying, and should it have been in our favor? Yeah, it should have. Were goals given away? Yeah, they were, and we'd like to have those back. We don't get those back. The Oklahoma game. Should we not have lost that game? We should not have lost that game. We gave away some gifts in that game. Same thing with the Baylor game in Waco. We don't get to go. We don't get to go back on those. That's what is the hard thing about
Denver early in the season.
Denver early in the season, we get they scored 3 great goals against us, and we missed a ton of chances. So that's you got to take your medicine, and now we have to go out and make something of these last 2 chances. And again, that's why you came to this school. You came to this school to play in big games, and now we have big games
play in games
in
that
front
matter.
of us. And you get to play it on on television. You get a chance to do it in big settings, and I'm excited for our players because they get to do it. I'm excited for our players because they're good enough to do it. And
yes,
you're going to go against other teams that are in the same situation. They went to those schools to play in these types of games as well, so it should be a good setting.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and visit with Micaiah McDonald and Jazz Wilkinson right after this. You are listening, or watching and listening to Texas A&M Soccer. We are back at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. You know what? They are still selling barbecue here, luckily for you, and they have left some just for you. So if you want to come on by Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road, They will make you a fine, fine dinner. So, one of the things, you two, I was just telling you a while ago, we always get the freshmen, the first time they're on the show, we make them read the Rudy's Reader. But since you guys are veterans, seniors, have been here, I didn't want to do that to you, so I am going to read it, which now means, I always, these players, when they come in, I always tell them, we've done like 175 of these shows, and nobody has ever messed this up, okay? So you know what's going to happen, right?
You're going to mess it up.
I'm going to mess it up.
Yeah, possibly so.
I'm just
better than average chance.
That's right.
But there's no betting allowed here,
No.
so it's part of the NCAA.
That's right. You can't do that. Soccer and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs and 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. All right.
There you go. You kept the streak up. That was good. Very good.
There's a lot of pressure on that. I mean, there really was. When I thought about that today, I thought, oh, man, do I want to do that or not? All right. So senior night for both of you guys. Last regular season appearance at Ellis Field. And first of all, let me properly introduce the two folks we have up here. To my immediate left is Micaiah McDonald, still after 4 years the fastest player in the SEC. And to her left is Jazz Wilkinson. Mac plays kind of outside mid / forward, sliding up into that position, and Jazz plays in the middle out of the forward slot. A lot of times plays back to goal and can use her body to turn and score, and both been huge contributors to the team. Jazz for the last 2 years, Mac for all 4 of her years here. And so, first of all, Mac, you're majoring in communications and Jazz and ag communications journalism. First of all, Mac, can you believe? I mean, you're 4 years. I mean, you've been here 4 years.
4 years went by really quick, and they say it's quick, but like, after experiencing it, I'm like, wow! I just got my ring last week, and now I'm a
congratulations!
Senior, so, yeah,
that is super. When are you going to graduate?
I'm graduating in May. So
Okay,
May
fantastic.
2025.
Fantastic. But yeah, I mean, so let me ask you, and I'm going to ask you, Jazz, as well, so you can be thinking about this. All right, think back to when you were a freshman. Mm-hmm. How have you changed over that 4 years, personally and as a soccer player?
I think I've grown a lot. I've stepped out of my comfort zone. I've joined a lot of organizations. So I'm a part of Blueprint. I'm also in a sorority. So, I mean, not pretty typical that you can see soccer players get to join a sorority just because it's such a commitment. And as a whole, I feel like I became a leader. And throughout my time here at A&M, I was able to help my teammates on and off the field become better people and also better on the soccer field as well.
So, Jazz, what about you? I mean, you started out your career at Arizona State, and then got here as fast as you could, as they say. Got here to A&M, played your last 2 years here. Think back to when you were a freshman, and now to where you are today. How have you noticed how you have changed and grown during that time?
Yeah, so it's been a while since I was a freshman, but I would say a lot of my interests have grown. I would say personality-wise and just things I'm interested in. And in the world, I think I'm more intuitive, more curious about those types of things going on in the world. As a soccer player, for me, it's interesting because I had to change positions completely when I came to Texas A&M. So as a soccer player, I've learned to play higher up the field, and kind of taking on that role as a striker, I think has really helped me grow into my game and just experience new positions. So,
G, what was it that for both Mac and Jazz, that caught y'all's eye from the coaching staff point of view and said, we got to get those players here?
Well, I mean, obviously we recruited them at different times in their career.
Sure.
I mean, we recruited Micaiah coming out of high school, and with Micaiah, it was her ability to kind of break games open and be someone who could stretch teams, and she's done that in her career. I mean, you look at what she did just on Friday, just the ability to break a game open and score great goals. With Jazz, we were looking for somebody to kind of be the exclamation point at the end of the sentence. We were looking for someone who could finish chances. Last year when we brought her in, and she was our leading scorer last year. Right. But also we were looking for someone who could be a bit of a presence in the air. And she's been able to do well, scoring with her head and being a kind of a different type of player for us up front. And she's very good about bringing other people into the game and being kind of a target player for us and being really smart and understanding different situations and being able to think on her feet. So those are different characteristics that she's able to bring in, and both of these players have been able to bring into the team. And you're always looking for different ingredients that different people can bring to the soup.
Sure.
For everyone to be able to make the ingredients of the whole thing a lot better.
Jazz, coming off, I know the whole team was a little bit disappointed in the result on Friday night against LSU. But the thing about soccer is you got to turn around and play again pretty quickly. And these are, as Coach G and I were talking about, these are two huge games coming up. How have you seen the team kind of reorient their focus towards the two games coming up?
Yeah, I think obviously Friday was a bit disappointing as a player and for the team, but coming out and playing again and just coming out to practice with energy that we did and just preparing for the next game, I think it was huge. And this whole week has been great as a team, coming out on the field, just, playing our hearts out. And it shows that we want this, and I think it's going to be a huge thing coming into the game this week.
So, Mac, as a senior, I mean, do you see yourself as somebody who kind of tries to step up and lead people in terms of the big game, like the big two games like this?
Yeah, I think a really good game that I could commend myself on was Florida State. Even though we lost, I mean, it was our first game of the year last year, and I mean, we weren't afraid to play against Florida State, and we came out and we were able to score on them, which a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do. And so I think transitioning to this year that we get the opportunity to finish playing Arkansas and Mississippi State, who are high in the RPI and also in the rankings, I mean, this is everything that I came to A&M for.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear you say that. So we talked about your communications major. Tell me, where do you see Micaiah McDonald 2, 3, 4 years down the road?
Possibly seeing myself in this position, maybe sitting with you or someone broadcasting, talking about soccer, talking about sports. I mean, I'm a huge sports fan. I've grown up my whole life watching sports. So,
if you didn't play soccer, what sport would you play?
I would run track.
That was a dumb question. That's true. And
Micaiah this summer worked a little bit with Texags.
That's right. Yeah, you did. I remember that.
With David Nuno as on the morning show.
Absolutely, I do remember that. But so you never got bored running track? I mean, you just like NASCAR. You're just taking left turns.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, you never know what to expect in track. I mean, sometimes the workouts could be really hard. They could be really easy. And so I think the thrill of just being able to do something and do something so well, that a sport that I tried so late, it was really exciting.
Yeah.
I think I would do it again.
Yeah. Well, Jazz, I know you and I talked here 10 days ago about this. I'm going to ask you the same question, and that is, I know what you're planning on doing. Why don't you tell folks what you hope to do over the next year or so?
Yeah, so I think for me, a big goal of mine ever since I was little is to play professionally, play professional soccer anywhere. It could take me back to Canada where there's a new league just starting up, or maybe that's overseas or even in the States here. But that's a big goal of mine, is to play professional for at least a couple years and get that experience under my belt.
Have you been talking to coaches about that, about what you want to do?
Yeah, I've talked to Phil about it actually recently, and yeah, there's some exciting opportunities coming up, and I've talked to a couple people so far, so hopefully, that'll lead to good opportunities in the near future.
So in Canada, as Jazz was saying, a new women's professional league starting in Canada that's going to, as we were talking about, going to feature first Canadian women. Mm-hmm. And which is fantastic. That's going to help grow the game in Canada for sure. And how many? Do you know anything about the league? How many teams they're going to have? Anything like that?
Yeah, I think there's about 8 teams in the inaugural year. There's one in Vancouver, so very close to where I'm from, which is exciting. There's one in Toronto, I think Nova Scotia, Calgary as well, where Anderson is from. So yeah, there's going to be 8 teams starting out, and it should be pretty exciting.
Super. I'm wish you nothing but the best. But as we talked about the other day, as much as you'd like to, you can't play soccer forever. Mm-hmm. Sometime or another, you're going to have to hang the cleats up. And when that happens, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I think something similar to like what Mac was saying. I've always loved sports, and I'm a big soccer fan, so I think maybe being a journalist or even like a commentator or something in that realm or area for like a professional sports team or organization would be a dream of mine for sure.
So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Mac, which was, if you didn't play soccer, what would your sport be?
That's a good question. I think the Canadian side of me wants to say hockey, but I think basketball. I've always loved basketball.
Really? Did you play that when you were in high school or junior high or whatever?
I played a bunch of sports, but I played volleyball, basketball, a bit of track in high school, but I think basketball would be number one.
I mean, could you keep up with Mac on the track?
Oh, no chance. Absolutely not.
Yeah, not even.
I'm more of a long jump kind of person.
None of us.
None of us can keep up with Mac.
No.
That is for sure. That's still one of the things that's really fun for me, is to watch you just blow by people who I know that they know you're fast, but I don't think they know until they get out on the field. They just, wow. It's just you're gone. Mm-hmm. And do you like to do that to people?
Oh, yeah, it's
That's
one of my
what
favorite things to do.
I figured you did. Well, listen, I know you guys are busy. It's a busy time of the year athletically. It's a busy time of the year academically, and I know you've got tons of demands on your time. And we appreciate very much you guys taking time to come by here and visit with us a little bit. That's Micaiah McDonald and Jazz Wilkinson, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Coach G. All righty, we are back, the Aggie Soccer Hour at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. Still got time to come on out. I need to remind you that the 12th Man Foundation is the official fundraising organization and ticket provider for Texas A&M Athletics. Support a 75-year legacy and help shape the future of Aggie athletics by donating today at 12thmanfoundation.com. All right. Before we forget, you've got your annual
charity golf tournament.
And I was getting ready to say huge golf tournament, because it really is. But I mean, the proceeds from that benefit boys soccer here in the Brazos Valley, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk about it, because again, it's coming up first week of December.
Well, yeah, it's going to be on December 9th, which is the Monday, out at the Traditions Club, which is, it's been closed. The golf course out at Traditions has been closed all summer long. They've been completely redoing it, and those who know about the Traditions course has hosted NCAA championships. It's it's a Nicklaus course. It's just a fantastic course, and it's the home of Texas A&M golf. It's one of the premier courses in the state of Texas, and it's being completely redone, and glorious course. This will be one of the first events of the remade course, and this is a tournament that we've been doing for more than 5 years now, and we've raised annually about $70,000 to $80,000. The money for this, 100% of it goes to help local families here in the Brazos Valley. And the whole idea of it is to try to help local boys to be able to participate in competitive soccer here. And basically the lessons learned from being able to play competitive sports, we think, are some of the most important lessons that you can learn in life. And if you think about, those of you out there, the lessons that you learned playing for a team growing up, whether you were a basketball player or like yourself a baseball player or football or whatever. So those are some incredibly important lessons as far as how to be a good citizen, how to be a good person, how to learn to compete in life, how to learn to be a good winner, how to learn to be a good loser sometimes, how to come back from things. And it's getting to be more and more expensive to play competitive sports in America, and we want to make sure that the economic side of things are not the limiting factor. So we go out and raise money, and this golf tournament is one of the reasons we do it, one of the ways that we do it. So if you are interested in playing, you want to put together a foursome, go to CoachGGolf.com, sign up your foursome, or if you'd like to just kind of help us out and would like to be a sponsor of this event, it's a great way to get your name involved. Rudy's Barbecue is one of our sponsors. They sponsor the meal at the end of the round. We fill it up with 36 teams usually. Right. So once we get to 36 teams, that's it. It's a it's a wonderful event. A lot of people from this community take part in it. Even people from outside the community. Callaway Golf has been a big sponsor of ours over the past couple of years. But it really is. You've played in it. We've
Absolutely.
We've had a lot of our coaches from here, Texas A&M, have participated in it. So really appreciative of anyone who can help us out, because it is something. 100% of the money stays right here in Bryan College Station. So anyone who can help out, go CoachGGolf.com. That will take you to the website for Cavalry Soccer's youth soccer event. I'm the volunteer president for this club, and again, it's something that I've been able to do since this club started. My kids were involved in it. They're not anymore. They've matriculated out, but it's still something that we do for the local boys in this town. It's not something we do with girls, because we don't want to have any kind of conflict of interest with me being the women's coach here at Texas A&M, but it is something we do to try to help the sport, but also to help kids and families in this community.
And you were just mentioned briefly about the impact that it can have on these kids' lives, and it's huge. And they don't necessarily realize it at the time. I'm a great example of that. I happened to play baseball in high school for a guy by the name of Gary Harrington at Baytown Lee. He was an All-American here at Texas A&M. He's in the Texas A&M Athletic Hall of Fame. Wonderful man. And I happened to see him. He just recently passed away earlier this year. But I had a chance to see him a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, when he came up, when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Anyway, and I told him at the time that I said, Coach, I said, I realize now that you weren't just coaching baseball.
Yep.
That you were teaching me about things that I needed to know for the rest of my life. I said, it's funny that I wasn't smart enough at the time to realize it, but that stuff has stuck with me. And as I get older, I realize what you taught me. And it all came from playing athletics, from playing sports.
That's right.
And being exposed to good coaches. And I know a lot of the coaches that you have in that club, and they are fine people.
Yep. And that's what being good teammates is all about. And that's what this club is all about. And that's what we try to do. And that's why we try to raise money in this tournament. So CoachGGolf.com, and it's a great event. It's a great golf course. So come on out and play with us.
Well, I've got my ringers together. I'm going to be out there again.
All right. Well, we have lots of great prizes, and there's a live auction that goes along with it. So if you'd like to donate maybe some items or prizes for the winners of the tournament, but also for the live auction, we are not too choosy on the players or the prizes. So please get involved.
So let's talk a little bit about the games last week. This was I think, brilliant scheduling strategy on the part of the SEC, and I know you had this was something that you had been pushing for late in the season. We have a week where we have one game. We have a week like that early in the season, but particularly at the end of the season, where you've been playing 2 games a week now for several weeks. We just played on Friday, and it gives teams a little chance to recover. But we had some good games. At Texas playing Arkansas. Arkansas came down to Austin and beat Texas 4-3.
Yep,
and that was a
wild
good
one.
game. Yeah,
yep.
It was. And then of course Mississippi State, who we're going to play, they went into to Oxford and came away with a 2-0 victory there. So again, makes these games very, very important for both Arkansas and Mississippi State coming up this weekend. And Auburn and Kentucky played to a 0-0 tie. I thought that was kind of surprising in some respects, although Kentucky is tough at home.
Well, and it just goes to show that there's always you shouldn't be surprised by almost any score in the league, because every game, every team is so tightly matched, and there's a lot of good coaches in this league, and so every single game you're going to come up against another set of coaches that are going to have a pretty good game plan against you. They're going to strategize something that you've got to figure out, and you got to be able to think on your feet. Your team has got to be able to figure things out on their feet, and halftime adjustments are always going to be pretty darn close. And there's not to if you see a score line that's more than one goal,
yes,
that's pretty rare in this league. So it's always interesting to see when you come out of it. So then you see like teams like Alabama who have got 5 ties. Well, you shouldn't be that surprised by a team with a lot of ties.
That's how close the margin is.
And the same thing with South Carolina. A ton of ties for South Carolina. They've got 2. Vanderbilt's got 3 ties. It's just a wacky league. Kentucky with 4 ties just in the league itself.
Right.
So.
But look at big games coming up on Thursday. South Carolina at Tennessee. That's going to be a huge game. Vanderbilt at LSU. Another huge game in terms of the way the standings ultimately fall out. And, of course, Texas A&M at Arkansas. Again, that game starts at 6:30 on Thursday night.
Georgia at Auburn. You throw in the regular like rivalry that is anyway. And then there's a lot on the line with that because those are teams that are vying for seeds, but they're also vying for other postseason issues. And then it all wraps up on Sunday with some really big games. I think that you look at Alabama and Vanderbilt right now. Vanderbilt is just under the line. The top 4 teams in the league are going to get a bye in the first round of the SEC tournament, and that's a big deal. Not playing on that first Sunday is a big deal. And can you avoid? We didn't have to do it. Can you avoid playing on that first day? Get a full day rest while 2 other teams beat the crud out of each other on that first Sunday.
It's huge.
And if you can do it, all the power to you. But if you have to play on that Sunday, you're going to have to grind through that one. So those teams that are trying to get into that catbird seed of getting one of those first buys, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and you look on Sunday, Texas is at Georgia. That's going to be a tough game for Texas. Going to Georgia is
never easy.
Yeah.
But you say that, Georgia's got a losing record at home in the league.
Yeah. I mean, who knew? I mean, my recollection of Georgia is that they're really tough to beat there. But, again, this year it's different. LSU's at Missouri. That's going to be a tough game. And then, of course, Mississippi State here in College Station to take on the Aggies at 5 o'clock. Again, 5 o'clock on Sunday. And then there are actually 2 games the following Wednesday. These are kind of makeup games that were
from the Hurricane.
Yeah, from the Hurricane. And that's Tennessee at Florida and Mississippi State against South Carolina, which is going to be potentially a huge game. And that's in South Carolina. So the Gamecocks are always tough there. So it's going to be a big game there. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to take another quick break, last one, and then we'll have the sprint to the finish. We're going to talk about Arkansas and Mississippi State, kind of talk about what kind of teams they are and what the Aggies are going to be facing this coming week, and we'll get started with all that right after this. You are listening to the Aggie Soccer Hour with Texas A&M head coach G Guerrieri. All right, we are back here at Rudy's Barbecue on Harvey Road. It's a sprint to the finish, the last bit of the Aggie Soccer Hour. Before I forget, I've always got to thank Kevin, who sits over here to my right, who keeps us on the air, along with Abby back at the station, and then Michael is over here. He sets everything up and tears everything down. It literally takes a village to keep it, to put G and I on the air, and to keep us on the air. I mean, they're not working with a lot of talent here on the radio side of things, so it's hard on them, and we appreciate it. All right, we've got to mention Thursday night against Arkansas, and then Sunday afternoon against Mississippi State. Arkansas up in Fayetteville at 6:30. Mississippi State here at 5 p.m. What can you tell us about these 2 teams, G? Other than that, they're both dang good.
Yeah, well, they're both very successful. They both are completely bought into the systems that they employ. Arkansas is a team that is very athletic. You look at them and you go, okay, that's an Arkansas player, that's an Arkansas player, that's an Arkansas player, and what I mean by that is, typically they are 5'10", pretty long, lean. There's a body type to them. There's an athleticism to them, and that's the way that they recruit, and it's become very successful for them. They've done a great job in their goal scoring. They've got 3 players, Tankersley, Doyle, and Robinson, that the 3 of them have scored 28 goals on the year. That's how many goals our team has scored. So those 3 players alone have scored the same amount of goals that we've scored. Mississippi State have scored 30 goals in the year. So those 3 players have scored almost as many goals as Mississippi State, the number 5 team in the country, have scored. So they are they've scored 58 goals on the season is what Arkansas has scored. So they are very dynamic going forward. They don't mess around. They get the ball forward. They get the ball in your box, and they say, you deal with this, and we'll see how it goes. And so they're very, very much about getting it moving, getting it up forward, getting it into dangerous positions, and making you have to deal with it. And they've been doing that for a long time, but they're much more controlled. They're possessing the ball more than they ever have. I think that Colby has continued to develop the team, develop a style, develop a rhythm to the way they play. It's not nearly as gimmicky as it used to be.
Yeah, they just kind of used to be just bomb it over the top.
No, it's much more controlled. It's really well thought out. They do what they do well, and
right.
They've been beaten by soccer teams in the past, and I think that they're much more prepared to beat anybody now. And hats off to them. I mean, their goal is win the national championship, and their goal right now is obviously win the SEC, but put themselves in a position to get a number one seed. Both these teams are trying to put themselves in a position to be a number one seed for the NCAA tournament to play in front of their home crowd, and it's a very good goal. It's a goal we've always had the same way. So, they're averaging about 2,300 people a game, and in their venue that's a big full house, and so it's a big advantage for them. So it'll be they're very good in playing in 30 to 35 to 40 second spurts of really chaotic, lots and lots of pressure on you, and you've got to be able to deal with that. And if you can't deal with that, you're going to pick the ball out of the back of your net, and you've got to be able to play, with a cool head. You got to be able to keep the ball under control, and you've got to be able to deal with what they do. And if you can't do it, then you lose. That's the way the game goes.
Right. And you look at Mississippi State. As you mentioned, they've scored 30 goals on the season. They've given up 3.
Right.
3 goals the entire season. And you look at their goalkeeper,
Matty Anderson, fifth-year senior.
Yep.
Kid out of Texas, a challenge player, great player, really good person too. And she's the rock behind that defense. It's a 3-player back line, but they're a tough group. I think James Armstrong has done a wonderful job with developing a team that, they're number one, they're tough, but they put the ball down, they play. They have a real style to the way they play. It's a 3-6-1. They're willing to get into battles with you, but then the ball gets down and they have a rhythm to the way they play. And when they go forward, they are they're committed to it, and they're committed to getting on the end of it. They got good pace up front. They have good width in their attack, and they don't make mistakes, and they're smart in the way that they play. And so same thing, they have a really good home field advantage. So us winning there last year, that was a terrific accomplishment by our team last year.
And it's one of the maybe close to the last loss that they had at home.
Maybe
because I don't think they've lost at home this year. Well, no, they're 9-0 at home this year, and so anyway, neither here nor there. But you look at again, Matty Anderson. She's got a 0.22 goals against average and 31 saves. So it's not like she hadn't faced some shots in a 9-12 save percentage, which is just
remarkable.
Just remarkable. So it's going to be tough for Texas A&M, but it is doable because the Aggies, when they're playing their best, can beat anybody, and that we just got to give it our best. And I need to tell you, Sunday, first of all, some great stuff going on. Senior night, as we've mentioned, so be sure to arrive early for the match to help celebrate our senior class. It is also Sunday Fun Day, as it normally is. You purchase one full-price adult ticket, and you can bring up to 4 kids in free. And that's game day sales only, no advance purchases. And we'll have the kids zone down there, as we always do, at the northwest corner of Ellis Field. You got free face painting, balloon twisting, bounce houses, and all kinds of other stuff down there. And Kevin just reminded me, I didn't know this, but the first 150 kids, 12 and under, it's a Silver Texas Aggie fan chain. It's like those huge, it's got a huge chain on it and some kind of medallion or something down there. It says Texas A&M on it. Makes you sort of look like a rapper, I think.
My goodness. I need to really.
Yeah. Well, you're not 12. You're not 12 and under, so you do not qualify, G. Okay. I think you would make quite a presence on the sideline if you had that on.
With my Flavor Flav.
Absolutely.
Big watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my big clock.
I kind of think you might see if you can.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Find a 12-year-old that will let you borrow it during the course of the game.
It's almost like the turnover chain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you'd make quite an impression over there on the sidelines. So anyway, it's just something to think about. But yeah, the first 150
fourth
kids,
official might treat me better.
Perhaps. Perhaps he might.
You never know.
You just never know. First 150 kids, 12 and under, Sunday. And then, again, that's all at the northwest corner of the stadium. So, again, you're going to need to get there early for that. So don't want to miss that as well. So, again, Thursday night against Arkansas in Fayetteville. Game starts at 6:30.
So it's a 6:30 kick. A lot of people, we get used to 7 o'clock. It's a 6:30 kickoff.
Right, and that's going to be you'll be able to listen on radio, 97.3 FM, right here on this station, 12-man mobile app, or the Radio Aggieland app, and then Mississippi State here on Sunday. Come on out to Ellis Field, celebrate the senior class with us. That's a 5 p.m. game. If you can't make it, you can always listen on 97.3 FM, the 12-man mobile app, and the Radio Aggieland app. And it is time for me to tell you that this copyright broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield IMG College under broadcasting rights granted by Texas A&M University. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of Texas A&M University and Learfield IMG College. Announcers are provided by Learfield IMG College and Texas A&M University. So for Kevin, for Michael, for Abby, for Coach G, and myself, thanks for listening, everybody, and gig 'em.
Christian Family Radio for the Brazos Valley. KAGC, Bryan.